In my last video, I was reading from the dictation of Jesus to Maria Valtorta on the 25th of April 1948, a long dictation, but very well worth hearing. And so I've split it up into a few videos so that it's more digestible. I ended the last dictation on Jesus' compelling statement, "It is essential that the people turn back to me." A lot of the next part of this dictation is addressed to priests, but it applies to us as well, because we're no longer in the situation of Catholics of 1948. We are to be an active laity, and we have means at our disposal through the internet, through books that are very readily available online or in bookshops or on Amazon or what other seller there is. We have much to equip us to play a part which lay Catholics couldn't so easily play in the past, and certainly not in the immediate post-war periods where Jesus was dictating to Maria Valtorta. So I'll continue from where I left off, the dictation contained in the little notebooks of Maria Valtorta and the dictation of 25th of April 1948. "It is essential that the people turn back to me," Jesus says. "It is useless to sing that Christ reigns in occasional gatherings, which could be judged as being provocative. Sing about Christ's reign with your life and your works. Establish it among the ignorant, the mad, the sick in spirit, with the patient work of the masters of love and the spiritual doctors. Be doctors and teachers not only for the good, but for everyone, as I was. Being priests must not constitute a special position which gives honours and saves one from the punishment of mankind. Work, fatigue, poverty, and hunger. I was hungry, and I was God. I was fatigued, poor, and had to work, and I was God. I lived in danger. I didn't avoid it, and I was God. Take the holiest ones among you and spread them around. At the same time, in silence and in a hidden way, a mystic army will help them with prayers, penance, and suffering. That of the victim souls, the army of the victim souls. Many Moseses on the mountain, while the Joshuas battle and win on the plains, using only the weapon of the gospel and a truly evangelical life. They battle and win with and for the gospel. Do it without delay. You don't know if you will still be able to do it in the future. In this land of martyrs and saints, where the heart of the church is, why don't you do what they already do with success in other nations? For the love of God and in defence of the church, morality and Christian civilization, where there's always freedom and peace. Do you want everything from me? Everything from Mary? You also have to want your own good and that of the whole world. Don't become euphoric over temporary victories. The many Moseses on the mountain pray, suffer, and offer up for the missionary clergy in Italy and for their Catholic assistants. Missionary priests in their own country and the Catholic assistants of missionary priests in their own country work so that the gospel, the church, and the sacraments, which are antidotes, life, light, and truth, are taken where they don't normally go, and to those who don't come to you, or if they do come, don't understand. They are also taken to those who are sinners and even antichrists because they don't know. On the day of judgment, I will ask you rather than them, why did you allow me to be persecuted? Because in truth, to allow ignorance of me and my truth to live and give root to error through lukewarmness or fear or pride is to persecute me, no more or no less than those who do it without malice, or who are incited to do it, or those incapable of resisting incitement, or those without the capacity to distinguish lies from truth because they lack knowledge of the truth, those kept in ignorance by Satan's servants, in order to have an army of slaves, of supine masses, delirious with hate, intoxicated by false illusions, tricked by cunning lies, to use against Christ and both the teaching and the militant church. Do not allow this to happen anymore. Go into the streets, mingle with these crowds dying of spiritual hunger, and give them pieces of the bread of truth. My word is truth and life. Go out, teach, love. I said that instructing the ignorant, admonishing sinners, and forgiving insults are works of mercy. Do this where there is the most need, where it is necessary to toil most and battle and win. Let everyone pick up their cross and carry it, and after having worked and suffered, raise it in the new positions reconquered by Christ, like soldiers do for the glory of their homeland. A priest is a soldier of Christ, and his supreme goal should be the glory of my kingdom in the world. Raise my sign in the heart of people, and Satan will flee from them. This and nothing else will save you. This is a spiritual weapon, and an effective one. Satan and his servants will be defeated, not by political parties or words or human actions, but by what is supernatural. Do what I tell you, and I will be with you. But with Paul, I say, quotes, be careful not to resist he who speaks, because if those who refuse to listen to those who speak to them on earth cannot escape, then if you turn your back on he who speaks to you from heaven, there is even less chance you can escape. Hebrews 12:25. And just as an aside, I'd say that is Jesus affirming, as he does elsewhere, that St. Paul is the author of the letters of the Hebrews, as tradition says. Just to go on then. All of this was told to my instrument a long time ago. But because of the hardness of hearts of many, I ordered the destruction of the dictation, giving the time and place. Not all of that dictation is repeated in this one. Much of it remains in the heart of my instrument, so that you don't come to hate it. The instrument is Maria Valtorta, by the way. Others, more likely than him to react to your judgments, will receive those parts not dictated. Jesus refers to Maria Valtorta as him, she's called young Giovanni or little John. So he keeps the gender with the nickname. I'll just read that sentence again. Others, more likely than him, that is Maria Valtorta, to react to your judgments, will receive those parts not dictated. What I've said is enough. I've just said that the events and meditations on what could happen to you have made you more inclined to listen to the advice of divine wisdom and love. those other voices, the others as Jesus refers to them, who will receive those parts not dictated, those parts about the future, those others will be other voices which will come either there at the same time as Maria Valtorta was living, or who will, subsequent to her time, speak with the voice of Jesus. So we must remember, Jesus is not simply speaking at one particular time, say the 1940s, to this woman in Italy. He's speaking to various chosen individuals at diverse times and places, right up to the present. We cannot doubt it. Jesus is constantly with his Catholic Church. Maria Valtorta has the dictation end there. She then goes on to say, he, Jesus, tells me other things which he orders me not to write, and which I happily don't write. I already find it quite a weight having to obey the order to give this dictation to the person Jesus has indicated. And I thank him with all my heart that all I have to do is repeat some of the terrible dictation on the prophecy of Isaiah to Sobna. Only verse 18, for the present, says Jesus, leaving the other parts in the secret of my spirit. For distant times, that will come to pass. To carry very sad knowledge in one's heart is a sad, heavy weight. To be able to speak it could maybe give some personal relief. However, I say maybe, because as the Lord has judged, it would certainly be much easier that I receive a crown of tribulations, as people do not want to accept the truth of things that don't bring them glory. Therefore, blessed be the Lord for having chosen other voices. And it says in brackets, living or yet to come, ? Having chosen other voices to speak the rest of the message. Then there's a note at the end of this dictation, at the end of that message that I've just given, where Maria Valtorta is putting her comments down. And this is from the editor of the notebooks. It says, among the handwritten pages of the dictation of the 25th of April 1949, I don't know whether that's a typo, whether it should say 25th of April 1948. But anyway, it says, there's a page of thin paper on which there was the following typed text with handwritten corrections by Maria Valtorta. Here's the text. After an intensive investigation in nearby Prato, part of a programme of raids to be carried out after the victory of the Front Democratico Popolare, Popular Democratic Front, was discovered. Only a part, because the full plot was only known by its heads. Within 24 hours of the victory, and that refers to the communists winning the election victory, within 24 hours of the victory, churches and Catholic organisations were to be destroyed, as in Colombia. Everything was organised, addresses given, the convents, associations, schools, houses used for religious teaching and practices, and the people who through their party affiliation or membership of Azione Cattolica, Catholic Action, or other religious associations were to be suppressed. At a signal to be given from on high, that is, the heads of the Movimento Rivoluzionario Comunista, Communist Revolutionary Movement, this signal will be transmitted to the heads of every communist cell, who, having already organised armed groups in their area, would begin the destruction. Convents would then be transformed into factories, or much worse. And those clergy and religious who had escaped the first massacre, hunted down. That's the end of that text. And it just serves as a warning as to what Italy would have faced had the communists won the general election of 1947. There was a plan, just as happened in Eastern Europe, to go after the church and to kill priests, to kill active lay Catholics, to destroy churches and convents. And this is communism in Western Europe. So we have to ask ourselves whether we can ever trust the far left, no matter what it says, no matter how many sweet words it gives to us. So that's the end of this video, on a rather sobering note.